Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 of the Community Clash Tournament. It's, of course, me, BlazyBud here again, joined once again by basically.
It's
That's a lot of
basically,
beats.
basically, you can call me Billy. You can call me when you have an open party for your Clash
Oh,
games because, man, are those exciting. And we got a few ahead of us.
mhm.
Well, one, at least.
Absolutely. We're going to be seeing Buddons versus Ooga Booga. I'm a Spooder in the, I believe, the NA semi-final here coming up. Now, well, I recognize this name, Ooga Booga, I'm a
Very
Spooder, sorry.
professional.
This is a SOC level team that we see fairly often coming up at the top level of that competition.
Yeah, not only do we see a lot of these players in the SOC realm, we also see them in the community tournaments, the SMITE primes, the 1v1s, the 3v3s, anything that's out there. You do see the Ooga Boogama Spooder. You really can't forget that name when you do see it. But they have some pretty storied players on their team. But on the other side for the Buttons, we also have some pretty good SOC level players. They typically stay in the Conquest round, the Buttons. And realistically, this is going to be a very intense, kind of high tier level match that we got going on today.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit more even than the one that we saw yesterday, the EU semi-final. Not to BM anyone, it just
Obvious.
ended a little quickly. You know, that's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
that's the thing with Clash. It's very, it could go either way very quickly. Once you
Mm.
decide to drop ship, kill the Titan, it will typically die. Either way, you do expect the fighting to be a lot more even, a lot more balanced, maybe even a bit more longer. We're looking around 15 to 25 minutes is a good sweet spot for like an even Clash game. So something around that realm is probably what we're gonna see. Hopefully, Apophis will make a debut here tonight.
I hope so. We didn't even get to see the Snake Man last game, and
Oh,
that's the
a
real
real
reason
shame.
I'm sad. So hopefully this time will be different. Let's go ahead and find out as we jump in right now. Buttons versus Ooga Booga. I'm a Spooder.
Just some great names coming out, first of all, and both in the team names and in the player names. We have Peanut, 5,528 here for the Buttons, and just a whole list of names you could pick from: Face, Cybrido, Privative, a lot of things that are just like high tier level here, including the names.
Yo, is that the real Eminem on I'm a Spooder?
I'll be honest, he has a few accounts that are Eminem, the real Slim Shady, something like that. So there is a good chance that the real Eminem is playing Smite game here for us tonight. Very glad he's a part of this community, but his team is really suffering here in this early fight.
And already trying to do the moves onto the Sobek that is Fancy Tramp, but it's gonna be Cybrido who's gonna overextend just a little bit here and already drop first blood 27 seconds in here for the Buddons.
Yeah, that was a great fight, at least for both teams. Spooder did take out that red buff, got a hold of it, which is going to be early damage. Shinigami picked it up here on the Hou-Yi, which is going to be very vital for early clear. Auto attackers getting it allows them to clear out waves a bit quicker, a bit easier, a bit by themselves. And you see him right now going for this blue buff, which he does get, but there was a bit of contention. If he didn't have that red buff to secure, he would have lost it.
Absolutely, yeah, Shinigami just about ekes that blue buff away from the invading Buddons, and already a hugely different dynamic from what we saw yesterday, Billy. Yesterday, the EU teams, as we would expect from EU, a lot slower. First Blood didn't come out until, I want to say, 2 or 3 minutes on that Nike kill, but this time around, a lot faster pace from both of these teams. Already invades coming out on the right side at the very least. I'm a Spooder on the back foot for now, but it's Clash. It's anyone's game.
Absolutely, and I think this kind of is a testament to how NA teams kind of prioritize these casual game modes. They really value getting farm, whether it means fighting and dying for it or just getting it in general. You can see these levels are coming out very quickly. Shinigami hit 5, dropped his ult, but a whole team around him is surviving with ultimates ready to use. The pluck here is going to set up the first fight.
But it's gonna be Face taking a lot of damage then. He's gonna take a spill, but Peanut's gonna trade it out. So a support for a mage is a pretty decent trade, but Eminem's gonna get stunned out there by the Petrification Gaze. Privative as well in some trouble, but Karmic doesn't quite have the damage on the board just yet. Now Fenrir leaping in, doing the damage. Karmic nearly takes a spill. There's gonna be the brutalized Eminem. Actually, the real Slim Shady gonna clap those Karmic cheeks and pick up number 2 for Armor Spooder.
And that wasn't the only cheeks he got 3 people in that terror stun, just instantly procced it, got the slam, but the fighting isn't done yet. Cybrito jumps in, gets the stun on the Cerberus, who's forced to get out, but you can't get away from a Berserker's barrage as Cybrito takes a kill, but spills in the meantime.
Fancy Tramp's going to take credit for that one, and just about limping out with his life intact is going to be Aura. But already, just like, I mean, look at the lead here alone. Billy on the Spooder finding themselves up 500 gold when before that fight they were down 500 gold.
Yeah, and it's very important to note that this is a game mode where you just naturally gain gold and experience. So while this fighting is taking place, there is that passive kind of income that's going in to both of these teams. Spooder is getting a bit of that strong side, the sweet spot, getting a bit more kills focused out. You can see it goes mainly to Cybrito, who is 2-2 right now. Shinigami's gotten 3 assists, which is definitely a big assist to, having experience on the other side. We see the Buttons 2-1, a little bit of a split going on, and that's where that experience is kind of being shuffled around.
Definitely not going to hurt the old bank account either, with Shinigami already finishing off that Crusher, Aura not quite having it on board, and well, a Hoyi with Crusher is a Hoyi I don't particularly want to, talk to or look at or know about in general.
What's wrong with talking to him? Have a nice. I could sit right now with Hoyi. He has a Crusher. I could have a nice conversation about how his day is going, something like that. Maybe. Fighting them, that's a different story. Would not want to fight them, but maybe have a conversation. I could do that.
I don't know. Sounds like you've got a bit of a crusher on Shinigami or Hoyi in particular. It was all.
I'll just have to face the facts here. I'm trying to make a peanut 5,528 joke, but I can only think of 5,527. I can only think of one less, unfortunately. But I mean, this is going great so far. We have 2 crushes here, or crushers, out on the field. Aura picking one up on the other side here for the Buttons, and that's kind of important to have for your auto attacker. Getting that crusher, getting a bit more ability-based damage, and a bit more attack speed is what you need to win these fights.
I'm impressed with the amount of jokes, and I'm also impressed by the amount of damage coming up from these 2 teams. Up into the sky goes the Camazotz, trying to fly away from Face, and he's currently keeping Karmic locked down for now, and unfortunately the pull isn't going to be good from Lin, but the Thoth Peanut's going to try and turn around on Shinigami, but not quite enough damage just yet. Meanwhile, in the backhand side, Aura's going to take a spill down to Cybrito with some help from the real Slim Shady, Mr. Eminem himself, and Primitive goes super deep here. I mean, you can tell the state of the game by whether or not your Merlin feels comfortable enough to flicker in.
No fear on Primitive right there, and that is a testament to kind of how this game is going. But I think it's mainly because of positioning. I'm a Spooder right now is grouping up very well. When Primitive is in danger, you saw Eminem run straight over from the jungle. The other side of the team was getting that objective on the right-hand side. They want to end this game quick, the Spooders. And realistically, what's going to be happening is you see them stay as 5, force one person on the Buttons off. Last time it was Peanut on the Thoth. He had to dash away in a different direction from his team, and Spooder was able to capitalize on that, chase him down with more people, kill him, and then move to the next target, and then the next target was, well, Primitive diving into the backline with Merlin, popping his beads to get 2 people in his ult. But hey, he still forced the aggression there, and that was a really good play by him, because the rest of his team was getting a tower on the right-hand side. If we see that again, both Phoenixes are going to be exposed, and this game may be ending quicker than the last one.
And it's that beautiful dynamic that you can only really get with this game mode, where the lanes are so close together that you really can rely on that. Okay, well then let's keep them off balance. We'll send one of our players to go really hyper aggressive in one lane to distract them from what we're doing in the other lane. And well, they're not even going to need to separate them by lane this time around, as all 3 frontliners, and yes, I'm counting Fenrir as a frontliner because of all of those items, but a beautiful double knock-up there from Cerberus is going to lead into a nice double petrification from Medusa, but now the damage is coming through from both teams. Aura takes a spill there, and the rest of the team is following up.
Yeah, Karmic falls to Primitive, who's throwing out those Merlin abilities with amazing space created by his team, and it looks like to be the end of the fight, but Shinigami was looking to jump in. The rest of his team will do it himself. Primitive takes the double kill and keeps on going.
Fancy Tramp not going to be eating at the table tonight, as the rest of Buttons just about managed to dissuade Spooder from taking that Phoenix. Although, I'll be honest with you, Billy, I'm not convinced that if Spooder really wanted that Phoenix, they wouldn't have just walked in anyway.
Yeah, they were very posturing forward for it. They were looking at every angle. They were willing to expend everything but that last one tick of their HP to get whatever they could at that front line of the bird. They couldn't get it just yet. I mean, we are just 7 minutes in, so it's gonna hit pretty hard. You can't really be tanking it for too long. And speaking of tank, you mentioned it a bit earlier. As we see this lead develop, about 5.5k experience and a bit more than that in terms of gold, we see the Fenrir and the Terra and the Sobek here on the Spooders build full tank pretty much, right? They're going to be frontlining as hard as possible. Realistically, when you draft an assassin in this game mode, it's because you want them to be tankier. You want their CC. You want like a Fenrir chomp at the bite. You want this Sobek to just run into 4 people, grab a pluck, and just be safe walking back in again as we see this aggression come out one more time for the Spooders.
Tramp is being CC'd into oblivion, but Eminem can't walk forward thanks to the petrification from Terra. Up into the sky goes the Camazots, and Andrew's going to help him combine for that kill into face. Now the turnaround from Buddons is starting to look good, but here comes Fenrir. Cybrito's going to find one. Now Andrew in a spot of bother. There's going to be the route out from Terra, and down he falls. Shinigami takes credit for that one. And now the rest of Imma Spooder charging forward. There's going to be the pickup from Fenrir, and he's dead before he hits the ground. Goodbye! No stun left available for the dog, but Brutalize goes hard, and Peanut just narrowly able to dash away with his life.
Cybrid was almost brought back into the fountain. That is how hard they were going for just a second there. The Spooders are looking very strong right now. They took a spill at that early bit of that team fight, but as soon as Primitive came around, he just almost one-shot anyone caught in Cybrito's Fenrir jaws, right? It was just a massive amounts of damage, and that goes to both the Mystical Mail, the Bruiser build that the Fenrir is going, as well as just the ability that Privative has gotten to just free farm this match out. He's been safe, super safe casting. You see him right now throwing blows with a Thoth who realistically has a range advantage on him. So it's not like that's very safe for him all the time, but he trusts his team to just frontline for him, create that space that he needs to stay alive, and he's playing off it very well.
We've already touched on it, but the team fight is something that Spooder has been excelling at. Looking at the scoreboards, Billy, there are 3 members of this team who have 100% kill participation. 2-0-9 for Shinigami, 1-0-10 for Eminem, and for Cybrito as well, 5-2-6. So everyone is playing their part in basically every single one of these kills.
Yeah, you could basically say that. But what that means is that basically the Spooders are very synergized. Oh, it's me. It's me.
That's your basically. That's I know that guy.
Hey,
he's the caster man.
I love that guy. He's great.
Me too. We should play some Clash together.
Should play some. I'll get on right now. I'll load up. I'll stop casting. I'll quit my job. Play some Clash, and we'll be fine here tonight. Ignore Worlds. We'll just keep going on Clash today. But what I really want to touch on is this team synergy from the Spooders. We touched on it just a hair yesterday on how the team with the most synergy typically sees more success in this game mode, and that's really going into play here. Most of the players on Spooder play a lot of games together. Sure, it's not competitive conquest. It's whatever they want, right? It's arena, it's conquest casuals, it's joust, it's arena. You see this synergy playing out because when Eminem engages, his team's going to follow right back up.
And there's already the stun from Shinigami, but he's going to be able to jump out just safely. Now the Buddons, they're still able to run back here. Not a lot of damage coming through. There's a lot of space created here between the front and the back line, but Tramp might be the first one to break that trend. There goes Cybrito, but he's going to get stunned basically under Phoenix just about, but the damage isn't there for the turnaround, and now the back line has caught up with the frontliners, and it's going to be Andrew potentially falling down first. There's the death from, onto Andrew from face, and now jumping into the fight is Cybrito, looking to find some more kills, but the damage isn't going to be there. In fact, he's going to get turned around on the final judgment is there, and Buddons finally put that foot in the door.
Peanut just hit that snipe because one time it doesn't hit, the second time it for sure does. He nails it, but Primitive shows what he can do on the mage, taking out Karmic. Got a bit too far in front of that front line, and we see this Phoenix is falling very quickly.
And it's, well, it's not going to matter. That's going to be it. Scratch that. Shinigami jumping in, looking for more aggression. But Buddons now, potentially with the turnaround potential. Eminem and Face are both still here to protect both of those squishy targets flanked in the middle of them. But it looks like Fancy Tramp looking to find a little bit more, but Spooder is just going to retreat out of this. They don't need to fight here. Beautiful walls from Eminem to stop out the dash.
What a wall. Eminem just shuts down the aggression completely, but maybe not so much. Peanut gets the kill off of the Cerberus ult. The Spooders are looking very low. Face falls one more time, but Cybrito is looking to turn it around, but he is alone. He has to turn tail and run back to his base.
I love the little ultimate there from Cybrito. Actually just uses it to get Andrew off of Privative so that he can't just run him down. And, I mean, as a mid player, I can fully attest to, if you leave me alone against a Cerberus, I will probably die. This man just kills me. I don't do damage to him, and he annihilates me. So thank you very much, Cybrito, for saving Privative there. I'm sure profuse treats and pets will go to the doggo.
Look, I'm a big support main myself, and shout out to these guys because my play style is I'm going to engage for you and CC them and throw them at you, and if you can't kill them, that's your fault for some reason. Your build, your play style, bad. Not my fault. What do you mean I'm not supposed to be ulting tanks at you? I'm supposed to be helping you? What is that about? I don't do that. But thankfully, Spooder here in the semifinals for a reason. Their players are very in sync with each other. The peel comes out when it's needed. But I mean, shout out to Buddons because that was the first team fight that we really saw them. It was extended and it was enlarged a lot longer than Spooder probably wanted, right? But that just goes to show what Buddons are able to do when they get a bit more frontline. The Thoth is able to dash forward, get more CC to his tanks who are allowed to follow up on that CC. The Cabrakan walls did an amazing job of setting up that initial fight around this mid area where we did see Eminem do his best, right? Set up those walls and prevent anyone from walking through for a little bit, but that wasn't enough to save his team from that other side. However, Spooder is looking to aggress here, and I think this is the call. Try and get this second bird down, because once you have it, it's going to be very hard to defend your Titan.
Buddons just got to find one more fight in their favor to basically even this one out and get themselves back into a position where they can come back into it. Trapped under tower now are all 5 members of the Buddons. I'm a Spooder still just looking, poking, prodding for a way under this objective, and it might come with this next wave as there's the abilities coming under, just waiting for someone to step in and look around the side. There's Face, and there's the blink engage from Eminem. The ultimate already coming through, but there's the Cursed Unk in response, and looks like already Cybrito could be in some trouble, but the follow-up isn't there off of the Cerberus ult. But back in the backline, Fancy Tramp trying to find the damage on to the back, but it's not gonna matter. Primitive's gonna find one, and Eminem's gonna take a spill in trade, but it might not matter for now. Cybrito, though, a little deeper. The Brutalizer's gonna find one, another trade out for Buddons, and that isn't what they want to find right now, because there are 3 members of Spooder still alive. One of them is still Primitive, and that fire stance is going to start melting down the Titan. Buddons are able to potentially get them off, but the Titan just about, maybe Shinigami falling down to the Ghastly Breath, but Primitive's coming back in looking for the damage. Aura able to dash away, and I think they're just about able to save it for now.
And Primitive is just doing so much damage to a tank on his own. The plug back in is going to set Andrew up for failure. Face will get kill credit as Titan is still under pressure here. The left wave has pushed in, and this could be the end of the game.
But Trampus respawned, and he's the last hope now on the board for the Buddons, but I don't think it's going to matter. There are too many minions and too many players. Spooder not quite able to be stopped by the Buddons there. The red team just fall short. They showed it right at the end there. They showed the potential that they might have been able to come back into it, but too little, too late. And now the Spooders will be going through to those finals.
Can't wait to see the Spooders compete in the future in that finals match. But what I really liked was that patience they showed. You could see the left wave building up and up and up. And when they finally decided to engage on that right side Phoenix, the left wave was practically pushing into the Titan itself. When they came out with 3 members who were very low HP, it made it very easy to siege the Titan, end the game, and move on to the finals.
Absolutely. It was clinical almost from Ooga Booga, which is, I mean, something that we don't expect to see from NA very often, especially in the casual scene. It's mainly just, this is arena, let's just fight until we can end up winning, right? But we'll have to see how they do going into the finals later on this weekend. But don't let us keep you waiting any longer, chat, because we're about to go and get ready for the SMITE World Championships.